Don't be alarmed, you're in my back garden on the 7th of November, 2010, with the smiling face of Michele Nalon in an article called Getting Started. It's easy to do. He's part of a series of things I've spotted in the Sunday papers this weekend. I'll give you a quick flick through them. I'm Bernie Goldbach, underway.ie at Ireland on Twitter if you're interested. But no need to listen to me. Just run on out, buy the Sunday Business Post and this edition of the Computer and Business Magazine. Definitely the best edition, the best issue of the year. Lots of good stuff, including Adrian Weckler telling people who would know, get off your backside, guys. To hell with your economic woes. He's Adrian Weckler on Twitter, and he's pointing out that innovators do simple things like write a memo to yourself, write down 10 things you or your company can do. This economic mess that people are facing isn't our fault. Just get off and do it. He spotlights a bunch of stuff, including this dongle I like, the O2 Hotshot dongle. I'm using it. I like it. I also like Hogwarts, so if you're going to buy any papers this weekend, Post is one, Times is another, and then this magazine, Sunday Times Magazine, excels at Hogwarts. It's the Harry Potter special, Farewell to Hogwarts, school's out for the year. Real good stuff. If you like the series, and if you like making film, if you like creative work, if you like how good ideas come to the big screen and syndicate, this magazine's for you. Inside the Sunday Business Post, all kinds of stuff about the way the country is going. Michael Lowry, a local politician, is demanding immediate publication of a gaming report. And what that means, Neve Connolly points out, is that Lowry helped get planning permission for a casino, yet casinos are basically illegal under Irish law. Pretty interesting, because they need Michael Lowry to pass the budget in the near future. And inside this paper and several others, they're talking about how the budget and the survival of the government actually is in the hands of people like Michael Lowry. Good inside story pointed out by Kathleen Barrington. A shrinking majority will probably lead to changes in the state's gaming laws, and that's probably a good idea. First I thought it was a bit of a nutcase building this thing. The more I look in behind the scenes, I realize jobs in it for graduates that I'm training. Skills shortage must be addressed, so says Adrian Weckler in several different places. And he points out through interviews he's taking how it's tough to get highly specialized technological assistance for big jobs. He cites some interviews being done that he's done with Eamon Fallon and Brian Fallon from Daft Media. They're doing an online paper. Here's a story that I'd suggest from the inside. If you really want to make sure that Irish third-level degrees result in skills that people need, then make these people, like the Fallon brothers, sit on panels as HETAC accreditors. HETAC is the Higher Education and Training and Awards Council. Make them accreditor panel members. Pay them for it. You'll get your results. This is stupid. Samantha McCoggan says why TV3 missed the digital terrestrial television presence. They were there. They are there. They weren't there for the day one, but it's called a trial, so not everyone's going to be working. The downturn's no bar to Irish tech success, so says Gavin Daly. Good stuff, and you connect the dots on the page. It's called News. Connect the dots to the headline, to an advertisement from the Dublin BICS Entrepreneurial Series. There's plenty of these little BICS that are around the country. The one I like the best is in Cork. They really help entrepreneurs connect the dots between business plans and collaborative work. Kieran Wood says that the government denies it's taking advice on third-level fees. He cites Jamil Salmi, who worked with the government as a consultant on establishing a proposal that Irish students should pay about half the level that British students pay to go to college. Plenty of stuff inside this paper called Graduate Options. This is a 3-page report done by Patricia Rowe and co.'s friends. Plenty of stuff about keeping graduates working or getting graduates working. I work in a third-level institute. It's not cited in here. I work for Limerick Institute of Technology. We're doing some stuff in the background that will involve a co-op properly. Tipperary Media Co-op. Listen to me. I'm over on quick.com/topgold, and we'll explain exactly what this means in the near future. Stuff inside this paper. Adrian's pointing out some gear you might be looking at if you want to avoid the cost of the iPad. And he cites the Appies. The winners of the Appies are, I like this Grand Prix Award winner. It's the RTE News Now. I'll be listening to RTE News Now next week as I'm in the States working with a client in Oregon who's attending the Nike Sport Academy. Former Intel boss is warning of Ireland of budget cuts. Dick O'Brien writes what Craig Barrett says, you can't save your way out of a recession. well put. You have to have innovation, and you have to have small indigenous companies that actually prime the pump for the rest of the economy. We all must take a hit, says the editorial, no exceptions, and they're pointing to something that's an undercurrent where I work, student protests being legitimate and mostly civilized, healthy, and entirely wrong. They're pointing out that students really should play a part in paying for part of their education. Free lunches are over. Sunday Times, pension cuts threaten whether the budget is actually going to go ahead. The backbenchers who are rebelling against unifoil leadership say you can't cut the old age pension. If you do, we won't vote for your budget. Those are important fighting words that Brian Lenihan, the finance minister, has to listen to. Inside the paper, some telling news from Damien Kybert, the Irish Outlook. He points out why Angela Merkel wants to have a hand in Irish finance, primarily because light touch regulation of the Irish against Saxon Bank and DEPA Bank. Both of them are based in Dublin's Irish, or the International Financial Services Centre, are costing the German exchequer potentially 130 billion euro. Whack. Germany is going to have a little hand in how those parts of Irish society are regulated if the Germans are part of giving loans back out to Ireland through a stabilization fund. And then in the world of instant communications, Kybert points out, Germans must be shocked at what they see and read, feather bedding in parts of the public service, obscene fees being charged by lawyers, and estate agents servicing the NAMA, and the tribunals and slush funds being run everywhere. Ireland, at its root, is corrupt financing. Here's something interesting. SuperValue has stuff that's for sale, and this is like, I point this out because SuperValue, I haven't never seen run a full page ad in the Sunday Times before for food. And look, cheese is being advertised by SuperValue. No free cheese for SuperValue. Media can't chase after squirrels, says a think tank article. Kate Shanahan wrote it. She works for DIT. Hey Kate, check it out. If you know the art of Freedom of Information Act requests, you will have depth of coverage. She doesn't really point that out, but real, deep, incisive articles are ones where FOI is leveraged to best effect. In The Independent, normally a waster paper, not a whole lot there to read. Rebel TD declares a war on Taoiseach. That's basically why I bought this paper, just because of that ad. Typically vacuous inside when it covers it. But you know what? I think the Irish Tea Party has awakened. McGuinness probably won't lead it, but there is this undercurrent rumbling which says, out you go, overboard. The same kind of thing that happened when there was a great tea revolt in the United States against the Brits. It started the big change, and the United States evolved. Pressure is on Cowen to reveal what he knew months before the bank guarantee. Ronald Quinlan writes this really interesting story that in casual conversation, the Sunday Independent discovered that David Drum told Brian Cowen about the problems inside of Anglo, and Brian did nothing. There could have been a possibility he was just inebriated at the time and didn't know what he was listening to, or it could be that he depends too much on internal documentation to tell him what to think. Here's another ad for food. It's from Aldi. Notice there's no free cheese in it. The Independent, Sunday Independent gets a lot of its advertisement full-page color ads for food and always has. Budget figures are all wrong, says The Economist. Roisin Burke and Shane Ross writes about, well, why the figures are all wrong. And then basically, the number of high-earning senior servants is soaring. What I'd point out is, if you look deeply inside of the CIE, you'll find that there's been some nice top-ups happening there. And I think Shane and the boys ought to look there first. Some sanctions for 10,000 euro a year, top-ups are happening, and I think it's absolutely wrong. Inside the rest of this paper, not a lot to see. Back here, Cowen needs to give answers on the risk position. Jody Cochran picks up the story that was on the front page and says, reports indicate Brian Cowen was either acutely aware of a threat to Anglo or that he knew of the fiscal roof falling in late 2007 when he involved himself in the crisis of the bank. Big stuff. The Taoiseach himself, as finance minister, knew that there was something happening, but he didn't know how to deal with it. Years ago. That suggests incompetence or complicit involvement. Well, actually, it suggests a change of government. The House always wins, though. It's John McGuinness's book. I'd recommend it. I bought it. And the hot spot, the hot shot, that'll be taken with me when I fly out to Oregon and Seattle and New York. I won't be here next week. This is it. I have to clean up some of my shrubbery. That's the story today. Thanks a million for listening. Check me out at www.insiveview.ie for more information, or flickr.com/photos/Irish eyes for the pictures. Bye for now.